Good evening, I'm Anna Azalian. Thanks for joining us. And welcome to Newswatch, your source for all news out of Southeast Ohio. Ohio University's Board of Trustees gathered in Walter Hall this morning for their quarterly meeting. Among other topics, trustees addressed the recent suspension of all IFC fraternities and a number of other OU organizations amidst allegations of hazing. According to Board of Trustees Chair Dave Scholl, the university is in talks with all involved organizations in search of a solution.
The university will thoroughly investigate all allegations of hazing, and all individuals involved in hazing activities are subject to both criminal and/or university judicial proceedings. But looking forward, the board was informed in executive committee that communication is being held swiftly with the leaders of all organizations involved to assure best practices are in place, consistent with their purpose in the first place, and in full alignment with the institution's core values.
A new change of student leadership has come to the field of Ohio University's Marching 110. Newswatch reporter Taylor Bruck joins us now to tell us what's different with the band this year.
After 50 years with a male in the highest-ranking student leadership position in the band, also known as a field commander, one female band member is changing that.
Fierce, fun, and respected. These are the words that members of Ohio University's Marching 110 used to describe their new field commander, Sophia Medved.
She's one of those people that just as soon as she starts speaking, she just takes command of everything that's going on. She's not respected because she yells at us, she's respected just because she is an easy to respect person.
Sophia's leadership is not only breaking barriers for students now, but also band members that have marched before her.
I think it's been a source of pride for students who ever marched in the band that have been female. You know, that it can be done, and students can achieve that level of performance and that level of leadership.
The Marching 110 was founded in 1923, and women could play in the band up until 1967, when the band became the 110 Marching Men of Ohio. Women were not re-admitted until 1975. Although the choice to make Sophia field commander wasn't a decision based on gender, she still feels like the decision will benefit the band for years to come.
I think it's really great that the band has chosen a first female field commander. Not just that it's me, but that they've chosen first female, because change and progression is always good for any organization.
Sophia's leadership is already inspiring young female band members.
Every time that she says something like leave her legacy, or we do another thing that she has introduced to us, it's inspired us not only to try to be field commander, but it's also inspired us that at the end of the day we can achieve other goals that we want to do.
The duties of the field commander include being the band's hype man and a leader when it comes to learning new music and teaching the fundamental marching technique to new members. Sophia has worked hard for 3 years in hopes of being considered for this position. She says she's honored to be a part of history, but says it's more to her than that.
I really want to leave a legacy of being the best field commander I could possibly be. It doesn't really matter my gender, I just want to leave it all on the field and help the 110 as much as I can.
In order to be considered as the Marching 110's field commander, you have to be a fourth-year member of the band, show great leadership and motivational skills. Sophia was chosen for this position from a list of more than 50 potential candidates.
Thanks, Taylor. One man is dead and 6 others injured after a crash on Route 33 near Johnson Road early this morning. The Athens Messenger reports the crash took place around 2 a.m. According to the State Highway Patrol, the car reportedly drove off the left side of the roadway into the median before ejecting the driver and rolling into the oncoming lanes. This morning's crash is the second in the past 2 days at the intersection.
Hi everybody. Well, it was a very warm day today, albeit a little cloudy. We have a lot of clouds coming in. This is because of an area of low pressure that's up centered in northern Minnesota, but a very strong cold front is over the Midwestern states, and that's going to bring in much cooler weather in for tonight. It's all associated with this strong upper level polar trough right here. And that's going to bring much cooler weather again into the area over the next couple of hours and even into the next couple of days. So major cool down is in store going into tonight and into tomorrow. A strong cold front is making its way through the viewing area. Here's a temperature representation of what's going to happen tonight. Very strong temperature gradient right here. That's where that cold front is, and that's where it's going to get much cooler as we go throughout the day tomorrow. It'll also bring in chances of rain. This is tonight. Chances of rain will be late tonight and into early tomorrow, but the homecoming parade should stay dry as of now. Again, there's that cold front at the surface that's currently right now in western Ohio and eastern Indiana. That will continue to push off east and allow rain to come in tonight. So 47 will be the low. Rain is likely. It will be a bit breezy too as that cold front makes its way through. Winds will be out of the west-southwest at 10 to 15 miles an hour. Make sure you have that rain jacket as you're going out and about tonight. Across the area, temperatures will be generally in the middle and upper 40s. It actually will be pretty mild earlier on in the night. Later on is when we get that cooler 40-degree weather coming in. 45 in New Lexington, 47 in Athens. Again, chances of rain will increase as we go throughout the night, moving in from the west to east. Here is that cold front coming through tomorrow. It is actually all the way through the viewing area, and it's really going to cool us down. Only a high of 55 tomorrow. Rain in the possible in the morning, 20% chance there. Clearing in the afternoon, winds will be out of the west-southwest at 5 to 10 miles an hour. Across the area, temperatures will only be in the middle and upper 50s. The warm spot is only 57 down in Ironton. That rain will move out from pretty much west to east tomorrow morning. So further east and further south you are, the greater the chance you have of seeing rain tomorrow. High pressure will move in on Sunday, and it's going to be a pretty pleasant day on Sunday before we get some more wet weather next week. So below average temperatures, that's going to be the story for next week. A wet pattern as well, and you can see here's our precip chances. Our best chance for rain comes on Wednesday and on Friday, with those precip chances being 40% and 30% respectively. And our 7-day temperature averages, look at this. We do not have one day, and I could say this for the first time this year, one day where we are above average. It's going to be quite chilly next week. 10-day air masses, here's our current picture. Warm weather right now, cooler weather on Saturday. Again, the cooler weather will stay overhead on Monday before a big cool down again next Friday. And here's that extended forecast. The warmest temperature Tuesday at 68, 40% chance of rain on Friday with a high of 59, warming you back up into the lower 60s by Friday with rain chances increasing. But look at these lows. A couple of lows in the 30s on Sunday and Thursday.
Thank you, Nicholas. And be sure to stay tuned to WOUB after the break. We'll have a special sports edition of Newswatch.
Genoa, Italy. Without warning. A deadly bridge collapse. Who's to blame? And are we at risk?
We have had over 24 bridges fail in the United States since 2000.
Inside the global race to save our bridges.
We have a significant challenge.
Why bridges collapse on Nova.
What's up? My name is Joseph Hennessy. I am the host of the 21st season of Gridiron Glory. We are super excited to be back on the air. Make sure to tune in every Friday night at 11:30 p.m. on WUB PBS, and make sure to keep up with all of our social media on Facebook, Twitter, and on Snapchat. Now, just a couple of these teams. Did Jackson come out of the FAC? Is River Valley the dark horse? Who knows? Make sure to keep watching. And remember, there's nothing better than Friday nights and Gridiron Glory.
As our cities expand, their wilderness is getting smaller. But for the animals who were here long before our city streets, these strong survivors of an ever-changing world have learned to do whatever it takes, not only to survive, but to thrive in this new urban jungle we all call home, the Wild Metropolis.
The Amazon. Humans have never set eyes on parts of this jungle until now. A team of naturalists and filmmakers are going to wire this wilderness, top to bottom. Remotely operated cameras will record everything 24/7. It's a wildlife filmmaking first.
That is remarkable.
We are in the heart of the season for Ohio Falls sports teams. Good evening, I'm Thomas Garvick, and thanks for joining us. This is a special edition of Newswatch. We dive into stories on players, coaches, and teams around Ohio University in Southeast Ohio. From the gridiron to the soccer pitch and even inside the combo, we've got you covered here on the Bobcat Showcase. And we kick things off with the Ohio football team. Running back Demontre Tuggle has made a huge impact on Ohio this season. After transferring in from a JUCO school in Texas, Tuggle is making the most of his opportunity.
It's pretty nice to put my name out there and let people know who I am.
He is a stranger no more. Demontre Tuggle had his coming out party in Ohio's home opening win against Rhode Island on August 31st. The junior transfer had 3 carries for 65 yards and 2 touchdowns. Just a year ago, he was at Kilgore, a small community college in Texas.
I used those 2 years to really mature and grow, learn. I learned a lot in Kilgore, honestly, mentally and physically. So, you know, that was really a humbling experience for me. It was definitely tough at times, but, you know, it made me stronger at the end of the day.
If it wasn't for his head coach at Kilgore, J.J. Eckerd, Tuggle wouldn't have known that becoming an Ohio Bobcat was even an option.
My coach is actually real cool with Coach Alvin. And after the season, you know, recruiting is going crazy. I'm getting calls left and right, but he tells me, he was like, I'm going to send your film up to Ohio. And I'm like, huh? Like, it was like, you know, I've heard of it, but I never really knew about it. And, you know, so he sends my film up. Coach Alvin calls me, brings me up on a visit, and I fell in love with the campus, the program, you know, the team, the atmosphere, everything. I knew it was home when I stepped on campus.
So far, Ohio is treating Tuggle pretty well. He leads all running backs on the team with 4 total touchdowns.
I mean, O'Shawn and Julian, Vari, Jake, you know, those guys, they're all amazing. They all can hold their own weight while they're in there, but for me to go show everybody who I am and put my name out there, that was amazing.
Tuggle's backfield mate O'Shawn Allison had a big game in Ohio's MAC opener this past Saturday. Allison helped lead Ohio to an overtime victory. Bobcat Showcase reporter Brian Kerb has the story.
O'Shawn Allison made his presence felt in Ohio's game at Buffalo this past Saturday. Allison missed the previous 2 games due to injury, and he ran for a career-high 96 yards and scored his first 2 career touchdowns. Allison's career-best game resulted in being named the MAC East Division Offensive Player of the Week.
It was very important. I mean, I was the MAC East champions last year, and I knew it was going to be a really big game for us. It was going to have to be all of us playing and firing off the ball and knowing our assignments each and every play. Yeah, I definitely felt 100%. It wasn't anything major. It was just a minor tweak, and did physical therapy and just went from there.
He had a really good week of practice. I thought he's focused and just disappointed. He was disappointed that he wasn't able to play against Lafayette. I think he's gotten better each week, and as the game went on, he got stronger. And that's kind of like AJ. You know, as the game gets going and AJ's going, you know, he gets stronger.
And after picking up that win in Buffalo last week, the Ohio football team returns home for their homecoming game against Northern Illinois. Bobcat Showcase reporters Jessica Costello and Jack Demler set the scene for game day.
Ohio football is coming off a thrilling overtime victory against Buffalo last week to welcome their West Division foe, Northern Illinois, for a homecoming matchup on Saturday at 3:30. Hi there, I'm Jessica Costello. This is Jack Demler for WOUB's Bobcat Showcase. And Jack, Ohio just ended their 3-game losing skid with that win in Buffalo. So how do they keep this momentum up for the continuation of MAC play?
Well, Jess, in order to keep up this momentum, especially in MAC play, as you said, they're going to need to reciprocate the defensive outing they had against Buffalo. They held Buffalo to only 181 rushing yards with a team that usually averages 240. So we're going to need to see that defense yet again against Northern Illinois.
And Jack, you know, you just brought them up. Northern Illinois is now 1-4. You know, they just came off a tough loss against Ball State. They're going to want to leave Peden with a win. What are we going to see out of the Huskies?
Well, unlike our last 2 opponents, unlike Buffalo and Louisiana, Northern Illinois relies heavily on their air attack. Quarterback Ross Bowers is the 4th leading passer in the MAC with just under 1,300 passing yards. He also utilizes all his options. His leading receiver is tight end Daniel Crawford, who has 19 receptions for 316 yards. However, Bowers connects with all his other receivers for a total of 61 receptions with 861 yards. So we're really going to see a lot more of the passing game from Northern Illinois.
And what about Ohio's receiving core? Who do you see coming out against the Huskies to just have an explosive game?
Well, I'm expecting a big breakout game for Isaiah Cox, Nathan Rourke's go-to guy. Cox has 13 receptions for 171 yards. Last year against Northern Illinois, Cox had 3 receptions for 147 yards and a touchdown, so expect another big game from Isaiah Cox. Another important person to look out for is Shane Hooks. Shane Hooks has the most receiving yards this year with 191 and only 8 receptions. Last week against Buffalo, Shane Hooks had 1 reception for 34 yards.
And just like always, we'll have all things Ohio football covered for you here at WOUB's Bobcat Showcase. For Jack Demler, I'm Jessica Costello.
The success for the Ohio soccer team comes a lot from 2 of its best players. That story plus how Ohio soccer assistant coach Courtney Weisler ended up in Athens. WOUB Newswatch returns.
Think Wednesday on PBS. For stories from the world around us. Stories of hidden cameras.
We're likely to see some really exciting behavior.
Crumbling infrastructure.
We have had over 24 bridges fail.
And urban dwellers.
Life in the big city is complicated.
For stories that get you closer to life. Think Wednesday, starting at 8/7 Central. Think PBS.
Can a decades-old murder shed light on the way we react to violence on the internet?
We're all bystanders on social media.
How is a drug that shook up the status quo in the 60s now upending modern medicine?
I tune into the world, to me, to things I used to love.
Plus, humorous Andy Borowitz. Those stories and more. Retro Report on PBS.
This month in Passport, your on-demand library of the best of PBS.
Country music is truth-telling.
You can dance to it, you can cry to it. It has something for everybody.
If your own country betrays you, to whom do you then owe loyalty?
The images really blew our minds.
What we found was staggering.
These and other shows are available with Passport. Go to pbs.org/getpassport and find out how you can start streaming today.
Do you think you're paranoid?
No, I'm not. For decades, residents of this Arab American neighborhood have suspected they were under surveillance. They were right.
So I found 1,000 pages of declassified FBI documents. What happened?
The feeling of being watched on POV.
The Ohio soccer team has a dynamic offensive duo in the form of Abby Townsend and Olivia Molesky, but their relationship goes way past Athens. Bobcat Showcase reporter Michael Roth has more.
Forwards Abby Townsend and Olivia Molesky have been crucial to Ohio's terrific start to the season, but their relationship goes way past the pitch in Athens.
I think it starts with off the field, honestly. Like throughout the whole first year, freshman year for me and junior year for her, we got a lot closer, and through the spring we're seeing each other twice a day.
We've been able to build on and off the field our connection. Over the summer we were able to play together and we were able to just show each other what we both have on the field.
The two didn't just share time together in Athens. This summer the dynamic duo played together in the WPSL.
We just grow a lot, and especially over the summer we played summer ball together at the Columbus Eagles.
For the Bobcats, it's been Townsend's speed that's been crucial to her success offensively.
I think they're both very dynamic players. They both want to attack. They play different roles in our system, but they both are always very aggressive and want to go forward. Obviously, Abby has been blessed with a lot of speed.
She's able to run fast, and she knows that I'll always be on the other side of it, and I know that I can count on her to get all the balls that I hit over as well.
When Townsend came to Athens as a freshman, Molesky was already an established upperclassman leader. Now, the two start together up front.
She was the starting forward at the time, and so playing with her throughout my whole freshman season definitely helped out a lot. I learned a lot from her. And just, she's always been a leader on the team, and I think I definitely looked up to her a lot.
The pair have already linked up for 2 game-winning goals this season. Don't be surprised if that number grows during MAC play. For WAUB's Bobcat Showcase, I'm Michael Roth.
The bonds for the Ohio soccer team are not just with its players, but its coaches too. New assistant coach Courtney Weisler reunites with head coach Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron called me in December and said, come on up, so I did.
It was the only call Ohio soccer head coach Aaron Rodgers would make regarding his assistant coach vacancy. Rodgers has known Courtney Weisler since 2009, dating back to their time coaching together at the University of Kentucky. Weisler was an easy choice for the job.
I really didn't even have to look any farther than Courtney, because I was so proud and respect the work that she had done in Oklahoma as the head coach there at the small college there, and I knew that she would be the right fit to come in here and help pick up where Deb's left off.
We grew really close at Kentucky and have kept in contact over the years, and it's just such a great relationship because there's no trying to feel each other out. We know each other.
Rodgers knew instantly Weisler was the person for the job after her head coaching stint in Oklahoma. Weisler started her own JUCO soccer program at Murray State College, where she literally did everything for the program.
It was pretty much the hardest thing I've ever done in my entire life. I was the trainer, I was the therapist, and we also built our field out there that was a cow pasture. So the amount of knowledge I have about grass and a field is mind-blowing to me sometimes.
She's done anything and everything to be a part of the game she loves.
I just love the game, and if I can be a part of it somehow, then that's good enough for me. And it's Marty and I, he's my husband, he's also a baseball guy. We always joke about we're not really good at anything else except sports and competing, and so it's a great fit for us. When they put that one down there. Hey, I think
Watch returns. A local Southeast Ohio volleyball team made history this week. That story plus changing schools and sports for an Ohio University athlete. Find out who right after the break.
Think Wednesday on PBS. For stories from the world around us. Stories of hidden cameras.
We're likely to see some really exciting behavior.
Crumbling infrastructure.
We have had over 24 bridges fail.
And urban dwellers.
Life in the big city is complicated.
For stories that get you closer to life. Think Wednesday, starting at 8/7 Central. Think PBS.
Do you think you're paranoid?
No, I'm not. For decades, residents of this Arab American neighborhood have suspected they were under surveillance. They were right.
So I found 1,000 pages of declassified FBI documents. What happened?
جو عند الباب واحد يطبطب قال لي اسمي باب قال لي بنتك اللي دير دوكيومنتري قلت له ايه.
The feeling of being watched on POV.
I will nominate Judge Brett Kavanaugh.
A Supreme Court face-off, 30 years in the making.
You will see a system that has become toxic.
When Bork got taken down, they promised never to forget.
It was raw politics, and it was war.
Mitch McConnell is a tactical genius.
We're not giving a lifetime appointment to this president on the way out the door.
Unprecedented.
Democrats are outraged.
We're living in the era of the McConnell court now.
Can a decades-old murder shed light on the way we react to violence on the internet?
We're all bystanders on social media.
How is a drug that shook up the status quo in the 60s now upending modern medicine?
I tuned into the world, to me, to things I used to love.
Plus, humorous Andy Borowitz. Those stories and more. Retro Report on PBS.
Welcome back. For one Ohio volleyball player, the Bobcats gave her the opportunity to continue playing collegiate volleyball. Bobcat Showcase reporter Michael Roth has the story.
When Emma Tupa decided to transfer to Ohio University from New Hampshire, she wasn't even sure if she was going to play volleyball for the Bobcats.
So when I got here, I talked to Maggie and I talked to Dean, met some of the players, and I came in here. It was pretty much like I would do everything same as a team would. I would lift with them, I would go to practices, and it was pretty much like any day they could tell me I was on the team or we don't want you on the team.
I just was coming to school here in the second semester last year and just, hey, can I try out for the team? And we're like, okay, bring her in, and gave her a few weeks and decided, all right, she's doing a good job. Let's go ahead and offer her a position on the roster.
So how did Coach Webb let Tupa know she made the roster?
Well, that was actually on my birthday. So after practice, Dean took me into his office, and first he started out by saying like things that he saw in me, things that I can improve on. And he said, happy birthday, and he's like, I just wanted to tell you that we want you to be a part of the team.
Tupa has changed positions for Ohio, focusing more on a defensive role with the Bobcats.
Emma actually moved from an outside hitter role that she had at New Hampshire to more of a defensive role here, a back row player role. It's really done well.
Emma isn't the only Tupa suiting up for the Bobcats. Her older brother Tyler plays for the football team.
It was really nice to be able to see him play on Saturday after all those injuries. And me and my mom and my dad started crying in the stands when he scored because we were just so happy for him because he's been working for her for a long time.
You can watch Tupa suit up for her first match in Athens when the Bobcats host Ball State on October 18th. For WAUB's Bobcat Showcase, I'm Michael Roth.
Maddie Bazelak joins the Ohio women's basketball team as a graduate transfer from Duquesne University, where she played volleyball. Now she makes the transition back to basketball. Maddie Bazelak was torn in high school. She had offers to play volleyball and basketball at the Division I level. Bazelak chose volleyball. She played 4 years at Duquesne, but
I was missing basketball the whole time. It had been a part of my life since I was little.
And so after graduating from Duquesne, Bazelak put her name in the NCAA transfer portal. Bob Bowen recruited Bazelak in high school to play basketball at Ohio.
I was shocked, and I just called her and just wanted to talk to her and see what her expectations were and see what her goals were, what was she looking for.
An opportunity for a fresh start one last time.
It is a change that I wanted, that I needed, and just being on this campus with this team, with coaches, is something that's kind of turned a new chapter in my life.
Bazelak's transition from a net to a hoop is understandably quite an adjustment.
It's been neat to watch Maddie kind of reacclimate herself to the game. I think every day she gets a little bit better. Seems to be more comfortable out there, and so you're dealing with the transition of going from one school to another, but then you're dealing with a bigger transition of going from one sport to another.
It's been a transition. Frustrating at times, but certain things come back, like riding a bike. But then there's other things that it's taking more time.
Bazelak joins an already crowded roster, but she doesn't care because it's
my last year playing college sports. I want to be in a winning program, want to compete every day, and be in a good team environment. And I said this is where I want to be, and I think that's the right place for that.
On Tuesday night, the Vinton County Vikings girls volleyball team made history. They won the TVC Ohio Championship outright for the first time in program history.
I will nominate Judge Brett Kavanaugh.
A Supreme Court face-off, 30 years in the making.
You will see a system that has become toxic.
When Bork got taken down, they promised never to forget.
It was raw politics, and it was war.
Mitch McConnell is a tactical genius.
We're not giving a lifetime appointment to this president on the way out the door.
Unprecedented.
Democrats are outraged.
We're living in the era of the McConnell court now.